Hi Kishore, good morning.
Hey, good morning. Hi, Anil. Hi, Ajay. Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Hi Krishna, good morning.
Hey, so please wait another 2 minutes, guys. We'll start. Hey, Manikanta.
Good morning, all.
Hey, good morning. Hey, Bhargavi. Good morning. Okay, I think I'll join now. Let me share the screen. Check screen. Okay. So today, so last class we discussed about the what is subscription, what is the tenant ID, how the accounts are created, and the type of accounts. Like it's a free account and it's a pay-as-you-go model. We have it, and what are the prerequisites to create an account? So all these things we discussed. Okay. Have you guys tried to create any account with Azure? Any difficulties or no one tried yet? How the process works? Anyone tried? Not yet.
No, no, not tried. Not yet.
No. Okay.
I have already account.
Well, Ajay, do you have account?
Yeah, I
Ajay.
have account, but billing info I have not added. I have the account
Uh-huh. Is a free account or
free account only.
okay. Bhargavi, do you have account?
No, not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Yeah, you try to create an account, guys. If you have any difficulties to create it, I will, I will help you to do that. Okay. So, as we discussed, once you create an account, then you can, the process is you are ready to go to create a service, like, services or use services from Azure Cloud. And before that, we discussed, right, subscriptions are mandatory, even though you create an account with Azure. Once you create an account, you will get a tenant ID. So after that, you have to create a subscription before you start creating any resource in Azure Cloud, because subscriptions are mandatory to monitor your billing for each resource in which subscription you are going to create. So subscriptions are mandated to generate a bill. It might be a single subscription for one tenant, or you can create multiple subscriptions if you want to segregate your billing. Okay. So this is the hierarchy, Azure resource hierarchy. This is the hierarchy it is supposed to be there when you go for creating any resource. So once you create an account, the tenant ID will be created at the top end. Okay. So underneath we have the management groups. We will discuss what is the management groups. This is not mandatory, but one management group will automatically create when you create an account. Okay. Once you create an account, one management group will be created automatically by Microsoft. Okay. So once you created that, subscriptions are not automatically created. We have to create by ourselves. You can create multiple subscriptions under one management group or one tenant ID, or single subscription is mandatory. You have to create. There is no choice. Under subscription, under each subscription, you can create resource groups. What is resource groups? Resource group is a logical boundary of your resources. What does it mean? That, for example, let's do this. So I'm going to create some set of resources. Okay. For example, all virtual missions, I want to manage one group. All virtual network related, I want to create in one group. Or I want to, so you can segregate your resource groups based on services. Or, for example, I want to create a dev environment for one resource group, or for production environment, another resource group, and test environment for another resource group. So, for example, you have a single subscription but you want to segregate your resources for different environments, you can create a one single resource group for each and every environment. So these environments, this resource group only as a logical boundary of this resource. You can, for example, you have a virtual machine, this virtual machine hosted on the one virtual network. You can do that because there is no blocking in between the resource groups. Okay. So once you create a one resource group is mandatory. For example, you have one subscription. For example, subscription one. Okay. So in the subscription one, you can create a single resource group or multiple resource groups. So resource groups, once you create a resource group, you need to select the which region you want to create this resource group. Okay, it might be an East US2 or West US2. It doesn't matter. Okay, you can create a resource group. So once you create a resource group, you can add your resources in this resource group. This way you can create multiple resource groups. Okay, we will discuss more about the resource groups also because these are resource groups are very important. It's a global service. It's very important to generate a bill on each subscription. We'll discuss more about that. But you need to remember resource groups are it's a logical boundary of your resources to manage our resources in a structured manner. Properly, you want to design your your resources in a structured way. You can use the resource groups. Resource groups are mandatory. One resource group is mandatory. Without resource group, you cannot deploy any resources. So here, tenant ID is mandatory. So one management group is by default is created. You have to create one subscription is a mandatory. You have to create a one resource group is a mandate. So you can see some set of groups like resources are hosted on each resource group. You can see this is an environment different. You can create for this particular subscription. You have one resource group. I have added all resources in this particular resource group. One more subscription, another resource group, and I have added all my resources. Okay. So resource, you want to try to create any resource in Azure. These things are mandatory. Tenant ID, one management group, one subscription, one resource group. These four are mandatory. This is the hierarchy. It is created in a follow in a Azure cloud. Is it clear?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So now let me go to the next step. Let me show in a portal. Okay, let me connect my portal now. Portal.azure.com. One second. This is the authenticator. So I have to authenticate. we can use. Okay. So guys, here you can see I have one account. So I have an ID that we can call as tenant ID is there. You can see here the tenant ID, the default directory is the tenant ID of my account. So under tenant ID, you can see management groups. You can type here management groups. So here's the root management group. This mandatory, this is the default root management group is created. So why these management groups are required? So we need to understand that. So for example, in this particular table, you can see tenant, we understood. Okay, this is the unique ID which is created by Microsoft when you create an account with Azure. Okay. So what is the purpose of management groups? Why these are required? Management groups are, it's a high level segregation of your, for example, you have huge environment, like, multiple departments, multiple divisions. It's an enterprise level department. You have it like in a company, you have it. So you want to segregate your, hundreds of, for example, you have different departments. Under different department, you have multiple um, um, small departments underneath. For example, you have entire sales department, or you have HR department, you have some marketing department, some healthcare department, something like that. So under sales, you have multiple dev environment is there, and the production environment is there, something like that. So how you are going to segregate this, the huge environment as in a structured way? So you are going to create multiple, management groups for each and every environment. And we are going to, for example, I have sales, I have HR, I have marketing. Three different options are there. Okay. So in my organization, under this particular sales department, I have three divisions like dev environment, production, and say, and testing. The same way, I have another three here. Okay. So this is the sales, this is HR, this is marketing, for example. So here, I try to push, like, I have different subscriptions here, each subscription. Under each subscription, I can create a one resource group or multiple resource groups. Okay. Under I am going to create as resources. Okay. So for example, customer says that I want to create a resource only South India region, okay, which are under sales management group. Okay, you cannot allow any other region except South India region. That is the customer requirement. So for example, here I can see three. For example, you have 100 subscriptions under sales management group. So how I'm going to enforce this? Where exactly I want to enforce this? So we have a service called Azure policies. We will discuss deep into that Azure policies in coming classes once you start creating as resources. So these policies are enforcing in a subscription and management group level. For example, I want to implement this rule for all my subscriptions. Okay, all my subscriptions, whatever, who are the part of my sales management group, they don't want to, no one able to create any resource except South India region. So these rule can be enforced in a management group level. What will happen? This rule can be applicable for all the subscriptions under this particular management group. Okay. So some policies maybe differ sales, differ between the sales and HR. There is no common policies for each and every division, right? The HR is completely different division. The marketing is completely different division. Maybe they have different policies or they have different rules. They want to enforce it. We can do that. Okay. So the management groups will help to enforcing and policies, enforcing any rules and a high level. Okay. Once this policy is implemented, enforcing on this management group level, all these subscriptions under this particular management group will be affected. Okay. So that is the purpose of management groups. So the advantage, if there is no management group, if I have 100 subscriptions, I want to apply this rule. How can I apply? I need to go to each and every subscription. I need to enforce that. Right? If some particular division, I have 100 subscriptions. So I want to enforce this for one rule. How can I enforce it? Each and every subscription, I need to enforce it manually. Instead of that, if I have one management group, only simply I can apply that rule in a management group level. So that rule will be implemented or inherited to all the subscriptions under this particular management. Is it clear, guys? You can see you have one root management group. Underneath, you can two management groups are created under this particular root management group. Under this management group, I have two subscriptions. In this management group, I have only one subscription. So this particular subscription, I have different resource groups. So this is the hierarchy we have it. So we already discussed what is the purpose of managed subscription. We already discussed about the resource group. We'll discuss more about the resource groups now. And resources are common. So you can create a multiple resources under each resource group. So any confusion here?
No.
Everyone clear?
Krishna, in that one is root management group.
Mm.
So under that we have created two those are like what will they are tenant management group or what management group?
This is the root management group. First one.
Okay.
This one.
Okay.
This is created automatically. These are not created automatically. We need to create manually. Okay. So these groups are, if you have, for example, one management group is mandatory. Okay.
Mhm.
Without these management groups also, we can work on it. There is no issue. We can create a subscriptions directly here. Got it?
Mhm.
But if you want to segregate your environment in a structured way, I told you that we have multiple divisions in our organization. I want to segregate in division wise, like HR division, sales division, marketing division, healthcare division. Many things are there. For example, you have a huge company, have different divisions. You have under each division, you have different environments or different setups are there. So HR department, they have different policies and procedures to enforce it. The same way the sales have different policies and procedures that they have. So we cannot merge both, right? What is the
Mhm.
policy you have it? HR have different policies and all. So
Yes.
these policies we can enforce here only in HR. So that is only applicable for HR department, not for sales department, right?
Okay.
Because they have sales for all over the globe or different regions. We cannot enforce the rule for you cannot create a resource only in particular region. that policy may not be applicable for sales. It might be applicable for HR. So how you are going to segregate? For example, you have 100 subscriptions here, 100 subscriptions here, 100 subscriptions here. So you cannot go on each and every individual subscription and enforcing that rule, which are related to HR, which are related to marketing. So instead of that, we can create one management group for each division, and you can enforce the rules. Easy, right?
Okay.
So, for example, we take in India. So in India, it's a single entity, right? So in India, we have different states. So, for example, each state have their own policies and procedures, right? So if there is
Yes.
no states, if you want to implement any particular rule which are related to Andhra Pradesh or which are related to Telangana, you cannot do that because it, Andhra Pradesh have their own policies and procedures. The same way, the part different like Telangana they have, Maharashtra they have their own. If there is no states, if you want to enforce something, it is not it is applicable for everyone. But I don't want to do that. I want to segregate these rules only for the specific region people. Okay. For example, if you go to Himachal Pradesh, they have a lot of privileges, like they have a lot of extra privileges. Generally, the other states does not have it because these Himachal Pradesh is hosted on it's a very high end of our India, right? Um, it's a
Altitude.
on the mountains and all. So they have
Yeah.
different policies and all. So they are applying to develop their state. They have different policies and procedures to do that. So the same way, so how we are going to enforcing some specific rules for say specific region, we need to create a state, one state, and enforcing that rule for this particular region only. The same way we are implementing that here also. The management groups are like that, just like a states. Okay, under states we have different regions. We have it right, just like there is a subscriptions. So under subscriptions we have small pieces, just as a hierarchy. That's it. So how well you maintained your entire infrastructure in our organization. This is the structured format will be there.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So now we are going to see. So let's do the. You can see here in management groups, the root tenant root group is created by default. So I have one subscription under this particular management group. I create one more HR management group. So if I want, I can add different subscriptions here. Okay. I can create or add multiple subscriptions. You have it. Okay. So you can move your subscriptions from one management group to another management group. You can do that. Okay. So you can create or you can enforcing some policies, governance. You can implement some policies here. We'll discuss more about that. Okay. Okay. So we have different policies. We can enforce it to the specific management groups. So you can create multiple management groups also. If you go to the root management group, if I'm going to go to the root management group, I can create multiple management groups like this. For example, I have HR management group. So I want to create one more management group, for example, sales. Okay. This is the group ID. You can create a copy the same. Submit. Just take a bit of time to create that.
In notifications system.
Mm. No, it will create. It is notifications are already there. Did I save it? Submit it.
Yes.
Might be take some time. Refresh it. Let's create once again. Right, it is already there. So you can see saying is already there. So it may take some time to you see. We have sales management group here. Okay. So you can create multiple multiple management groups under group management group, or if you want to create some management groups under HR also you can create if you want. There is no stop like that. For example, I want to in HR, in HR department, you want to create some other management groups like cloud. Okay, for example. These things are it will be designed when you go for you start your infrastructure setups and all these things. So these while go for landing zone setup, we can call as a landing zone. So so how we are going to structure your company, your resources into the particular organization, right? So that time you can design all those things. So is it taken care by your architect? So not in a admin level. It is on the architect level.
Will come inside HR.
Yeah, you can see that. You can see inside the HR we have cloud. You can create like that. So in the root, under root, you can create under one particular management group, you can create multiple management groups. You can create that. So you can delete also if you want. You can go to this particular management group and you can delete it if you want. This will be deleted. Okay. Now you can see you have a sales and HR and under the root management group. So you can add multiple subscriptions if you want to create under HR. If you want to create one more subscription, you can create add subscription. You can create one more subscription here if you want to create anything. Okay. So this is a different process altogether. You can create multiple subscriptions and under each subscription, you can create a resource groups. For example, I have a subscription. Okay. So in this subscription, I can create. So as of now, I have only one subscription. You can create multiple subscriptions also if you want. That is our choice. Okay. For example, I want to create a resource group. You can have an option called resource group. For example, create. She's asking in which subscription, under which subscription you want to create a resource group. I select, I have only one subscription. I simply select this one. Otherwise, it will give a drop-down menu. If you have multiple subscriptions, you need to select the right subscription here. You can give any name like this. For example, guys, these naming conventions, we can call as naming conventions in real time. So these are very strict about each and every project. We cannot simply give some names. They have some standards they followed to provide a names. Okay. So that is designed by your architect, because our architect will discuss with your customer, and customer tell you, like, what are the standards, what format they want to create a resources. We have to follow that standard format for each and every resource which we are going to create. For example, so generally we followed like this. AG is Azure, and this is for example use to yes 2, it is dev environment. Okay, it is under the type of resource. Okay, a resource group, it might be RG1, something like that, or you can create directly RG1, resource group 1, or might be any name. You can give app1, app RG1, something like that. So this is the, for example, this is for application, so you can give app, you can give RG1. So this is the naming convention you followed. Okay, this is Azure created in East US 2. This is the dev environment resource group. This is for application. This is the name of the resource group is RG1. For example, virtual machine, everything is same, only the last, this will be changed like VM1, something like that. But the standard format will be there. Okay. So in which region you want to create? Okay. For example, I created a East to US2, for example. Okay. This is a East to US2. Click on next. So here we can see tags. So you can see the tags for each and every service. You can see the tags. What is the purpose of tags? Tags are nothing but, for example, you want to provide some information while creating your resources. For example, um, some company, in my company, in my project, we followed like that. Who created this resource? Okay, for example, created by Krishna, environment dev. Okay, so these are the mandatory things. For example, we can enforce the policy like this also. For example, tags are mandatory. We can enforce that policy also. Without tags also, you can create a resource, but in real time, we are enforcing everything through the Azure policies. Okay. Otherwise, without rules, we cannot follow, right? The same way. In the real time also, the people who are very lazy, who are working on it, they cannot follow the standards. So we are enforcing that policies while they are creating resources. Otherwise, we cannot, for example, in future, I want to know how many resource groups I have in dev environment. How can you pull out? We cannot pull out that information, right? How many virtual machines I have in dev environment? For example, I'm using single subscription. Okay. I want to know, I don't know, because we are creating all the virtual machines for all the environments in a single subscription or a single resource group. How can I segregate? I want to know how many virtual machines for dev environment, how many virtual machines for production environment, how many virtual machines for test environment. Or for example, I want to know uh, how many servers have Windows 2016 OS. So these things are very, very important. It's look like very small, but very difficult to pull the data regarding that. So tags will help when whoever is creating resources, if they followed standard tags in their environment, it's very easy to find out the details with the help of tags. That will help to the people who can manage that their resources in a proper way. Okay. Without tags also we can create, guys, but tags are mandatory to help to segregation. Even though you have a single subscription. In interviews also they will ask these questions, guys. What they will ask, like a scenario based questions like this. For example, uh, I have a subscription. I have a subscription, one subscription. So I have 30 servers in under this subscription one. I have one resource group called RG1. Okay. So I have 30 servers inside this particular resource group. So some of the virtual machines are for the dev environment. Some of the virtual machines for test environment. Some of the virtual machines are production environment. So I want to know how to pull the data which are used for test environment. How can you pull it? With the help of tags. Without tag, because if you have separate subscriptions, there is no problem. For example, dev environment, I have one subscription. Production environment, I have one subscription. And test environment, I have one subscription, for example. Otherwise, I have different resource groups for each environment. We can pull the data. Dev environment, I have one subscription. Production environment, one resource group. And test, I have one resource group. So this way also we can pull it. Or if we have some different subscriptions, we can pull it very easily. If we have only one subscription, one resource group, you are using it. I want to segregate the servers for each and every environment. How can I do that? The help of tags. Tags will help because you can see if you go to the resource group, right? I have created one resource group like this. If you go to the tags, you can see that it's a dev environment. You can pull the data like that. Okay. You can pull the data with the help of tags. Without tags, we cannot do that. It is very, very tough. Is it clear, guys? What is the purpose of tags? In many interviews, we are asking this question.
Yes.
Clear for everyone, right? Yeah. So under resource group, you can create your resources. For example, I want to create some resource, like any resource, like virtual machine, something like that. Okay. If I go to virtual machine, create virtual machine, we'll discuss deep into the virtual machine in a dedicatedly. Just I want to show these things. Okay, you can see as soon as I open to create a virtual machine, you can see the red star. Star, you can see the red stars. This is the mandatory things you need to give it. Okay. So you can see here, if you have which subscription you want to create, under which subscription you want to build this virtual machine. Okay. So without the subscription, you cannot create virtual machine. The same way, resource groups also have a red star. So that means you have to select your resource groups here. So this is my resource group. So as soon as I select resource group, you can see the region is selected. For example, if I select different resource group, you can see the region is selected automatically. Okay. And then you can give your virtual name and all these things. But guys, resource groups are, the region is not mandatory to bind with. We will discuss more about that. Don't confuse now. Just remember, once you select the resource group and you got a region name, which region you want to create your virtual machine. So it is related to the East US2. This virtual machine will be created. We discussed it. What is the region? What is a region?
Where our VMs are located.
Located. Okay. Region is nothing but what?
In which country it is?
Yes. In which country? In which country? In which part of that particular country? So in specific, for example, I selected East US2. That means my virtual machine will deploy any one of the data center which is in a specific region called East US2. For example, in East US2, I have two data centers. For example, Microsoft have two data centers. Okay. So my virtual machine can be deployed on this data center, or it might be on this data center. Okay. But these data centers it should be in a East US2. You cannot deploy in any other region because you selected region. So region is very important, guys. I told you that without the region, when you try to deploy your virtual machines or any services, that is decided by your architect before you are going to deploy these resources. And why the regions are very important? Because we are trying to deploy our resources nearest their customers, because to reduce the latency. So that's the reason they are going to choose the right region before you deploying your resources. Clear? Any confusion here? Clear? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So everyone, Ajay, Manikanta, any doubts? Bhargavi, till now? Anil,
No, Krishna. No.
clear, right? Okay. Okay, now we are going to discuss about the pricing calculator. For example, pricing calculator. What is the meaning of pricing calculator? For example, I am a customer. I reach it to one of the service provider like Infosys or whoever it is, like, So I want to, I want to plan to deploy my applications or some storage. I want to store my data into the particular, how to maintain your data and all these things. So I want to, like, estimation of that your entire resource cost. Like, we definitely, for example, you are trying to build a house. You should have some standard, we are go for planning and everything. Then after planning, what they're going to do, they create an estimation, right? How much the cost would be if you go with this plan. So that price is feasible for you or not. So if that the price is very high, we cannot afford like that. So you can say that you can try to do the alternative solution for that. Okay. So otherwise, that price is fine with them, that budget is fine, then the customer is okay to proceed. So how the architect will know that? How they go for estimations in cloud? So Azure has provided one tool called pricing calculator. You can see. This is the Microsoft website, right, guys? This is the pricing calculator. So this pricing calculator will help to architects, whoever is planning to use it. So you can see all the services are available here. You want to create some estimation. For example, I'm planning to create 10 virtual machines, so and so size. What would be the cost? Okay. I want to know before deployment. How can I know that? For example, if I go with the add to estimation, add it. See here, this is the virtual machine region. First, you want to, in which region you want to create a virtual machine estimation you want. For example, because region wise, the price will be differ. You need to remember that. The virtual machine and a specific size, it might be in East US 2, some price will be there. For example, 10 rupees, for example, in East US 2. If you go to the West US 2, it might be 15 rupees. It cannot be the same. It might be the same or may not be the same. So you cannot estimate, you cannot give like to the customer, like you have to take approximate price for the specific region, because some services are cheaper in some region. Some region, that same service will be maybe costly or differ. The price will be differ.
Any
Okay.
reason?
Because their location and the estimation and all these things. Because, for example, you buy something in India that is different than if you go to US, the same product, right? Because of the many reasons. The export, if that particular product is, for example, any product is prepared, you can purchase in this location, maybe 10 rupees. If you go to the same product in the different region or different country, it's very costly because they are exporting that particular product from the different country, or so many reasons are there. It depends on the situations. So in the same way, for example, Microsoft is build a data centers on some region, is maybe the price may be less there as per their estimations. If you go to the same setup into the different region or different country, it might be very costly in that particular location, right? So it depends on that. If you go to Mumbai or Hyderabad, 2 BHK in Mumbai is very costly than if you compare to Hyderabad. Why? Why it is? Location is important, right? So in Mumbai's way, everything that is 2 BH is very costly compared to Hyderabad. But both are 2 BHK only. Why it's so costly? Depends on the requirements, or depends on the that particular region. The same way, Microsoft also follow we cannot provide the same price for every region. That is important. Okay. You need to select the region and what type of virtual machine you want to create, and it is only for US or not, and how many virtual machines you want. For example, I want 2 virtual machines. How many hours you want to use it? For example, I want to use 31 days or 10 days, whatever it is. Okay. So 20 days I want to use it. Okay. What is the estimation I have it? You can see $180. You will get it. This is the cost if you go to the East US. Okay. For example, I want only 10 days. What would be the cost? So $90. Okay. So this is the cost for your virtual machine if you are going to use it 10 days. This is the approximate cost. It is not a actual cost. Okay. You need to remember that. So this is the once you calculation is you can add what are the resources you want to build it. You can add all these things and you can create a report. Then you can upload and you can explain to the customer. Okay, if you want to use this service for these many days, this is the model I have it. For example, you can see this is the W2 model. If I have different model I have it, the price will be changed. You can see 86 rupees. If I go to different model, we'll discuss what are the models are available. You can see 158 rupees, $158. So it depends on the virtual machine size, model, okay, location. These three are impacted how many days you want to use it. So these are the four factors are affected to provide a price. This is the only estimation cost. It's not an exact price. So we will discuss with as a customer, as an architect, we are going to discuss with the customer. If, for example, you are going to use these many services or these many days for this is the models and all, this might be the cost. It's nearby. So are you okay with that? So if the customer says that yes, then you can start implementation. Okay. So this is the way you are going to create a estimations in Azure with the help of pricing calculators. These particular pricing calculators are very useful. You act as an architect. Some particular companies, you might be an architect sometimes because they don't, it's not in a huge company. You have to play all the roles. Like you're an architect, you are a admin guy, you are a everything. Like, okay. Okay, guys, we'll continue tomorrow from here and we will discuss about that to start the new topic called networking. So that is a one service. I'm going to start as a networking, how the networks works and how the process works, how to create and all these things. We'll start from tomorrow. Okay. Any doubts?
Okay.
Is it clear?
Yes.
Okay, guys. See you tomorrow. Bye bye.